Welcome back to the Green Festival's edition of Green is Good. We're so honored to have with us today Lorna Montalvo. She's from IKEA. She's the local marketing manager for New York. Welcome to Green is Good, Lorna.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure.
Lorna, this is your first time on Green is Good. This is also IKEA's first time on Green is Good. So it's really an honor to have you on today.
Thank you. We feel humbled by this.
You're a local lady. You grew up in the Bronx. You work out of Brooklyn now. Tell us a little bit more about the Lorna Montalvo journey. Did you ever dream this was what you'd be doing? Did you ever dream you'd be on the cutting edge of sustainability and the home industry? Or what was your upbringing like, and how'd you end up here?
Boy, well, I grew up in the Bronx.
Okay.
I started out working at the borough president's office in the Bronx for a little while.
Wow.
And that was a really great experience. I learned a lot about what the borough of the Bronx was doing. And then from there, I realized that other boroughs were doing just as much in the city. From there, I went and I worked for a community newspaper group, paper. And I learned even more about other organizations such as Sustainable South Bronx, Red Hook Initiative, which is actually a nonprofit in Red Hook, which is also where the IKEA Brooklyn store is, and we have a relationship with them as well. And it was interesting how all of a sudden, you have this bigger New York picture, and then all of a sudden you go down into a local level, and all of a sudden, here we are, IKEA Brooklyn, a big corporation working with some of our local business partners right here in Red Hook. So it has been a journey, yeah.
How long ago did you join IKEA?
It has been, I'm going to say 7 years about.
7 years?
Yes.
And what position did you start in when you first joined?
I started out in the marketing position. It was sort of a new position that IKEA hadn't really established at the time.
Okay.
And I came in and just had to, I figured it out pretty quickly what it was that I needed to do. And some of the things that are part of my role is community outreach in addition to the local marketing for the New York market. So we keep our community outreach local in the Red Hook community.
Gotcha.
Which is where we're at.
In Red Hook in Brooklyn.
Red Hook, Brooklyn. I always have to remember to say Brooklyn because I feel everyone knows where Red Hook is.
And for our listeners out there and our viewers, go to learn more about IKEA and all their great products. We're going to talk about a lot of them today. You can go to www.IKEA.com. IKEA, IKEA.com.
Right.
So talk a little bit about sustainability on a macro level. Sustainability in IKEA. How important is this sustainability to IKEA?
Extremely important. On a global, on a macro level, we have in the U.S. we have IKEA owns the largest wind farm.
Wow.
In the U.S. We have 2 locations, one in Texas and one in Illinois, and so that's on a global level. When you start going into the local levels, each IKEA store it was 38 out of the 44 stores have solar panels. And some are in the process of installing more. So I remember speaking with our sustainability director for the U.S. organization, and I asked her, so what does that mean for us? And she said, well, technically, IKEA could build 40 more stores and still be neutral. Carbon neutral. Yes.
Incredible.
And I thought that was amazing. And for me, I thought, wow, that really is something, as an organization. Not that that's where we're going to be going, or maybe we will, but who knows? But the point is that we're there. We're at a point where we can
already doing more.
Yes.
More than your share.
Yes.
Producing more energy than you're even using.
Which is amazing.
That's amazing. Yesterday when I was getting ready for this interview, I read in all the materials on IKEA, your sustainability report. It was tremendously impressive.
Yes.
I mean, and again, for our audience members, it's right on your website, IKEA.com/sustainability.
Right.
But let's talk a little bit about that for a second. To IKEA, it seems like sustainability is truly a cultural and a DNA issue. It runs through every facet of your company.
Yes, it does.
We were even talking earlier before we filmed the show. You and I and the producers were talking a little bit about you recently had a baby, and they make they take the people and the side of the people, profits, and sustainability. They take the people side of it their employees very seriously, and they make it very accessible and very mommy-friendly to work at IKEA in terms of taking care of the great people that they have. Is that not true?
It is true. I scream about it to all of my friends, and I thought we weren't going to talk about the lactation room, but here we are.
Right.
It's something that I use obviously every day now. They've made it very comfortable for me. I think women just happen to have this kind of guilt, especially when you go back to work, and then while you're at work, you have to leave a meeting to go do that, so.
Right.
But they've made me, my boss has made me feel very comfortable doing. My colleagues who I sit on my management group, they've made me feel very comfortable, and I'm glad to work for such a company. I mean, other things, if we want to talk about the people piece of it, we have last year we have a global pension program within IKEA. So here in the U.S. we already have our 401k,
right.
And IKEA matches a nice chunk of it. But then on a global level, every single employee is eligible for pension, and it doesn't matter if you are a manager or if it's your someone who works 20 hours a week. You're eligible for a pension, and everybody gets the same amount, which I thought, wow, that's amazing. So you have, different ways that the company is taking care of you. And the benefits, of course, are really great, and our vacation time is amazing. Right now at 5 years, I get almost 5.5 weeks vacation. Someone who just starts is close to about 3 weeks vacation, and that's really important here in New York. I've been in other companies where you don't get that, and it's just a bit of a struggle, and they really push for that work-life balance, and it's up to you to manage the time that they give you.
If you just joined us, we've got Lorna Montalvo on. She's the local marketing manager for the great brand IKEA, www.ikea.com. Lorna, we have a lot of fun products here to talk about, so I want to move things along.
Of course.
Talk a little bit about how does IKEA make it easier for our listeners and our audience members to live more sustainably at home?
Oh, I'm going to speak a little bit about New York, because that's what I know.
Great.
So here in New York, we know that it can be difficult. Many of us live in apartments. More than half of us rent.
Great point.
So how are you going to make living sustainably at home possible? And some of the things that you can do are, replacing your taps or your faucets with some of the range that we have. They have aeration in it. So when you're using, let's say, a bathroom tap it mixes air and water together, and you're saving about 50% water. On our kitchen taps, you're saving about 30% water on average. Other ways that we can work living sustainably is waste sorting. So we make many different solutions. You go anywhere else, you have mostly just like these big bins, and here you sort them, but not everybody has a mud room. And I'll be honest.
Mud room? What's going on here?
So to a non-New Yorker, I remember being on a conference call with IKEA, and somebody mentioned a mud room, and we're going to push this, and I said, oh my God, what is a mud room? And while they're talking, I'm on Wikipedia looking it up, and I thought, wow, we don't have that. We have an entrance to our apartments.
Right.
So, it's basically, mud rooms are where you're supposed to take your shoes off when you first come into a home.
I gotcha.
Okay. So what I thought, well, what if we took that and, we do waste sorting once we enter our homes, or it's right by the door. So as soon as you go out, you could take it to your, compact room or outside your building, depending on what, the way you recycle in your building.
Right.
Other ways are replacing bulbs in your home. IKEA phased out years ago these compact fluorescent, and we are in the process of phasing out now halogens. So right now we have LED bulbs. We have the most affordable on that market. We're looking at $4.49 a bulb.
And how long does that LED last, approximately?
Well, we're looking at about 25,000 hours.
Which is much longer than a traditional.
Yes,
right.
LEDs are great. They're
25,000 hours. Wow.
So you're looking
incredible.
at quite a long time. You won't leave them on for for a while. So you're looking close to over a decade to 15 years.
Right.
With a bulb. Other things that IKEA is doing in the home that we're pushing is growing your own. We have a grow your own line that's coming out, and it's about growing your own food at home and urban gardening.
Really?
So this is just a bit of a precursor, just to start some of your...
what's in front of us here?
Yes, it's a greenhouse, and of course, when you purchase it, it is flat packed.
Okay.
You can get this for about $19.99 at the store, and you start growing. You can grow start your tomatoes, start your basil, anything. I mean, obviously you want. And then of course
Right
we have
in
another
here.
line where it works in a corner, so you can have all of your plants hanging in a corner with a tension rod that goes. So you don't have to really drill into your walls, because in New York you're not really allowed to drill into your walls.
Right.
So what we're trying to do is to show our customers that we understand what it's like to live in New York. We know that you can't drill into your walls. We know that you have to pay rent. We know that it's difficult to have that beautiful sorting station that most people generally have. So just little changes can make a big difference.
So now with this, and is this already on sale?
Oh,
yeah. So people are buying this to grow their own food in their apartment or their home.
Right.
Also, your furniture is very friendly for New York living, right? I mean, you make furniture that can fit a large home, but also be really great for a studio apartment as well, right? Very user-friendly.
The Flatpack works really well here in New York. We've found that, an example is when we first opened the store, we had a couch called Ektorp, fairly large. I mean, it's been in the IKEA family for years. It's it's a regular sofa, and we in the beginning we found many people were returning it, and when we finally asked, is because could it fit through the entranceway, or could it turn going up, a walk
right.
up? We were very excited when IKEA took that same sofa and boxed it into two separate pieces, so now people can actually bring it into their homes. So, just the flat pack concept is in itself green, because you're not shipping air. You're not. So when you think about, other places, retailers where, you have these big, pieces of furniture, and the cost that it costs, the cost of shipping it is astronomical. And of course, you got to think about the petrol that's being used to ship that particular item.
Sure.
We have, when we ship items, it's not uncommon where it's in a container and someone will kind of like stuff some pillows or a duvet cover just to take up that little extra bit of space, because the IKEA does not want to ship air.
Wow. So they're very careful on their logistics in terms of they get the maximum on all their logistics in terms of their shipping.
Right.
That's incredible. The other thing, that I read in your sustainability report last night is, let's talk a little bit about sourcing.
Right.
IKEA is very careful in terms of the wood, the cotton, and all the sourcing. Can you share a little bit about sourcing for all of your great products at IKEA?
Okay, so we'll start with something that IKEA has called iWay.
Okay.
It's also in the sustainability report, so if anybody wants more details. But the get down to brass tacks. It's a program that IKEA uses to make sure that the suppliers that they are working with is working in a sustainable way. Not just from the way we source the wood, but to the way that they treat their employees. It's very important. So as far as we work with a forestry standard that it's in a way, let me just kind of, it's using wood from sustainable sources. We will never go into a forest that is, in danger or where animals are in danger. Anything, basically, the forest. For every piece of wood or tree that we take down, we always plant more.
Isn't that amazing?
It is.
That's great. Also, your cotton. Talk a little bit about your sustainable cotton program.
Okay, so we love working with cotton because it is soft, it's breathable, but conventional cotton farming is not the best, and it's not the best environment in general, and not for the best environment for the people who grow it. So we work with farmers to raise standards, and we prohibit child labor, and we also have adopted a holistic approach to sustainability issues surrounding the cotton production. And by the end of 2015, our target is that all cotton used will be from sustainable sources produced in line with the Better Cotton Initiative standards.
Gotcha.
Yes.
So everything that you source, all the products, when we walk around an IKEA store, it's safe to say that it's all about people, profits, and planet, that the sourcing of all the furniture you're selling and all the items you're selling is truly done in the most sustainable way.
Right. And we also, besides cotton, we've also, we use other products such as lyocell, which is based in tree pulp. So we have some of our bed linens that are made of that. We have another material called, I don't know if I'm saying it right, Rami. Rami.
Okay.
You've heard it.
Okay.
It's a grass, and it could be harvested 6 times a year, so much easier to harvest than cotton, and that's very durable. And using other sources, wool, and just to make sure that it's not all based in cotton. Although we do use it, but we explore different products to.
What are we looking at here? What is this? Can you show our listeners and our viewers what is this here?
So this is called Solvinden. I hope I'm saying this right. My boss is Swedish. He likes correcting me sometimes. What I believe it stands for sun and wind.
Sun and wind.
It kind of makes sense, right?
Yeah. And what does that do?
It is a solar-powered light.
No.
It's part of our summer line. We also have certain light fixtures that go outside that are also wind-powered. I have one on my balcony.
Can I look at this?
Yeah, sure. I have one on my balcony, and it's been there for over 2 years because I am lazy too, and I just never took it down. But it still works,
So this is the solar panel here,
right?
So for our viewers, this is the solar panel on top of this light. It's very, very light to hold. Beautiful wood on top. Solar panel. So what? I could just put this on a table outside.
Right.
The sun hits it, and this lights up.
It lights up at night, yeah.
And it will stay lit for hours after the sun goes down?
Yeah, you're looking, depending on how much it's powered, about up to 8 hours.
This is amazing. So this is just, again...
That's just a tiny bit, we have...
Tip of the iceberg of all the sustainable and interesting products that IKEA is selling.
Yes.
This is $12.99.
Yes, it is.
Solar light, $12.99. I think you just sold one here. We're down to the last 2 minutes, Lorna.
Okay.
Can you? I want to give you the chance to share some final thoughts with regards to IKEA sustainability. You're 7 years working there, and how our audience members and listeners can engage with IKEA to live a more sustainable lifestyle.
Well, on a local level, I can tell you that we have something called the IKEA Coworker Challenge. We've been doing it every year.
Okay.
And this year, each year we have we work with a local nonprofit in our community to help better the community that we live in. So what we do is we have our own employees. They create a proposal. Our management team votes on it, and then we bring it down to a smaller, maybe 3, and then from there, the public votes on it. And that happens every year, and that's called the Coworker Challenge, the Life Improvement Challenge.
So the clients from the store, your customers, vote on one of those 3, and they choose one nonprofit in your community.
Yes.
So give an example of which one you've worked with.
Okay, in the past, we have worked with the Red Hook Initiative. We've worked with a place called Conover House in Red Hook. We've also, our winner this year is a place called Alex House, and what they do is provide classes to young mothers and parenting classes. They do food donations, healthy eating, and it's right here in our community. And I found out what's really great about something like that is that our own employees actually take part in some of the classes that the woman, her name is Samara, who's running the program, puts on. In our own community, just so we have the Red Hook Community Center, we installed solar panels on the community center. That came from Sandy. We realized that after Sandy, we weren't prepared in the community to withstand such a disaster. So if you ever wanted to go to the Red Hook pools, if anybody's in the community, they do have solar panels on their roof, and that's for the community of Red Hook.
Well, Lorna, you're amazing, and IKEA is just doing great things both locally and internationally, and we thank you for your time today. And for our listeners out there, to learn more about IKEA and all the great things they sell and also do to make the world a better place, please go to www.ikea.com. Lorna Montalvo, you are a sustainability superstar and truly living proof that green is good.